Yo, this is the Clockwork Pi PicoCalc. It's a Raspberry Pi Pico-based DIY kit that you build yourself. This is a program running in Golang. I'm JBlanked, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to go from this device right here to running your very first custom interactive program using the Go programming language. No complicated theory, just a straight line from where you are right now to seeing your own code come alive on this hardware. You ready? Let's jump in. Okay, before we write a single line of code, we need to set up our digital workbench. So first, the hardware. You'll obviously need your PicoCalc, but you'll also need a micro USB cable to connect to your computer. And that's pretty much it for hardware. Second, the software. This is the core of our setup, and we need 4 key pieces on your computer. First is the Go programming language itself. If you're totally new to Go, don't sweat it. I am too. Just think of it as the new master language that our other tools are built on. And number 2 is the star of the show, TinyGo. And simply put, TinyGo is a Go compiler built for small devices, just like the microcontroller in the PicoCalc. It's the magic that lets us run a modern language like Go on a device like this. And number 3 is the example project, which includes all the board drivers we need. Special shout out to Matt Watch for putting this all together. The example and the setup is all thanks to his GitHub repository. This repository is a ready-made project that acts as a perfect translator between our code and the PicoCalc's specific hardware, the keypad and the screen. It makes talking to the hardware incredibly simple. And number 4 is a good code editor. Now, I'm using Visual Studio Code or VS Code because it's free, powerful, and has some pretty cool extensions that just make things a ton easier. Getting these installed and ready is step 1, so don't get bogged down here. The goal is just to get them on your machine so we can move on to the exciting part. First up, let's install Go. The official site is go.dev. Head over to there, click on the download button, and then grab the installer for your operating system. It's a pretty standard installation. You can pretty much just click next all the way through. And then once you're done, restart your terminal if you have one open already and just type in Go version. Okay, next let's install TinyGo. The official site for that is tinygo.org. And just like with Go, they have a quick install guide with detailed instructions for every OS. Just click it, then follow the steps for your operating system. Once you're done, restart your terminal again, and this time type in TinyGo version. Okay, now let's get the example code. Instead of writing it from scratch, we're starting with a working project from Matt Watch. So head to the project's GitHub page. I have a link in the description. You need to download the repository as a zip file by clicking on the code arrow and then clicking download zip. And then after that, just unzip the file. Okay, and finally, let's get VS Code set up. If you don't have it, get it from code.vscodestudio.com. Once it's installed, open it up, go to the extensions view on the sidebar, and then type in Go, and install the official extension from Google. This gives us syntax highlighting, code completion, and other essential tools. Alright, and with the software ready and the project downloaded, it's time to look at the code. This is where the real fun really begins. Now, this example goes way beyond a blinking light. It reads key presses and displays them on the screen. It's literally the perfect demonstration of input and output on your new device. So within Visual Studio Code, go ahead and open the entire folder. For me, it's in the downloads. Click open. And inside, you'll find the main.go file. Let's take a quick look at it. And let's briefly walk through it. Now, I'm pretty new to Go, but it seems pretty easy to understand. It looks a little similar to C. So at first we have the package main, and I think this tells the compiler that this is an executable program. And then next we have the import block, which seems like we're pulling in all of our libraries. like the one for the screen driver, which is the ILI. We have the keyboard, which is a custom one that Matt made, and we have the image color for defining colors. And then after that, we have our global variables, and we have our main function, which is essentially the entry point to where our program begins. Inside of that, we initialize the display here, and then we use the right line to print to the screen. And then after that, we initialize the keyboard, and then we have a for loop. It's definitely different than C. Not sure how long that goes. It's probably an infinite loop. I don't see anything that would change, that would make it break out of the loop. It would seem like it's an infinite loop, and inside of that we get the pressed key, if any, and then once we do get a key, we make a small rectangle on the screen, and then we draw the character within that rectangle in green. And then after that, there's a small little pause just to keep things running smoothly. And that's pretty much it. If there are any errors, we have this function here that will just draw it to the display. By the way, if you're finding this guide helpful and you're getting excited about what you can build, a quick click on the subscribe button helps me know that you want more guides like this to continue your journey. It makes a huge difference and it's free. Okay, so this is the moment we've been working towards. We're going to compile our Go code, turn it into a tiny program file, and flash it into the PicoCalc's memory. The tinygo command makes this incredibly simple. First, we need to put the PicoCalc into bootloader mode. We need to turn it off and then flip it over to the back. Now, this is a custom case by the user N602, but if you have the stock case, you can still reach the boot select button, which is the small white button here, by using a toothpick or something small. And all we need to do is hold that boot select button while we plug in the micro USB cable first to our computer and then to the Raspberry Pi Pico inside of our PicoCalc. Then once you see a new drive on your computer appear, you can let go of the button. Your computer should see a new drive likely named RPI-RP2 if you're using the Pico or Pico W, or RP2350 if you're using the Pico 2 or Pico 2W. Now back in Visual Studio Code, let's open the terminal inside the project folder. You can do that with Control, Shift, and backtick. Close out all of this stuff. And here we are. Let's see if we still got Go here. We do. And now all we need to do is run one single command. Now pay attention here because the command is slightly different depending on the Raspberry Pi Pico you're using. So if you have the Pico or the Pico W, you'll type in tinygo /-target equals Pico and then -serial equals UART. But if you have the Pico 2 or Pico 2W, you just add the 2 here. It seems like it's just like the definitions in the Pico SDK. So eventually, if there was networking stuff, you would probably just type in _W for the Pico 2W. But Pico 2 is fine because I have the Pico 2W. Okay, after that, pick the command for your device and just click enter. And watch the magic. tinygo will start compiling your code, then it'll link all the libraries, and then convert it into the special UF2 file that the Pico understands. Then it will automatically find the drive and copy the file over. It was quicker than I could say all of that. Okay, and now when we turn on our PicoCalc, here we are. You should now see the words press any key on the screen. So go ahead and press a key. And there you go, it appears right on the display. So thanks to Matt and the tinygo community, we were able to compile a program that handles screen output and keyboard input and we deployed it into our PicoCalc. And just like that, in less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee, you've gone from a brand new PicoCalc to running your own interactive Go program. You installed a professional toolchain, you understand how to handle input and output, and you've successfully flashed it to your device. What we did today is the foundation for everything that comes next. Now that you can read from the keypad and write to the screen, you have the core components of a real application. You've taken the first and most important step, so keep that momentum going. And if you enjoyed this and want to see what's next, make sure you're subscribed and give this video a thumbs up so you don't miss the next video. I'm JBlanked. Thanks for watching. Peace.